Hi everybody, this is a pre-introduction. I just wanted to do a sweeping video of what the room looked like before we did anything in the last couple of days. Jim did a couple of things to his desk before we actually shot the video that's coming up. So I just wanted to show you a little bit of what it used to look like. Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Guess what? I know Jim got a little bit of piece that he talked about before.
Alright, good evening guys. It is still Wednesday the 9th. And I decided I wanted to do some more cleaning in here and some purging and whatnot. Jeri will be here with me shortly. She's going to help me just to pan the camera down. I've already removed the check chair that was here so I can get into this corner. These are actually a combination of storage containers and bins and boxes that we may or may not use. Right now, we're not going to purge. We're not going to really get rid of much from here because it's stuff that we might use in the near future. And if you got it and you think you're going to use it, why get rid of it until you know you're not going to use it? So as soon as Jeri gets in here, we're going to start this because she wanted to see what kind of bins we had. Some of these bins were actually designated to come in here to help me with storing books and whatnot for my tabletop. So we're going to get to work here in a moment.
I don't know if you'll see this here on his channel, but today we're going to work a little bit in the dining room slash den slash office space. So it was the dining room formerly, so sometimes we call it that. It's Jim's den slash office space, but he likes den. He worked on cleaning off the table today, and now we're going to work on moving some of the holiday dishware and DIY stuff into the dresser that's going to sit in the corner, and then probably put the drawers on the floor. We haven't decided 100% yet, but we're going to get into this today, and then we're going to move out all the plasticware so we can see what we have for storage and what we need to get rid of. Okay, so I'm turning around, and here you go. Now, we did end up giving quite a bit into the garage sale pile, but the garage sale pile actually ended up staying in this room. But since we removed all of the baskets, it still has plenty of room. So we do still have a long way to go, but you know, I'm trying to remind Jim that to pace himself a little bit. He has really achy today. We got our second COVID vaccine yesterday, the Moderna one, and he's feeling pretty run down. He's got a lot of the side effects that come along with it. Just general aches and pains. So I was like, listen, it's okay to have a day off that you didn't schedule a day off. And it's okay to just listen to your body. So there is that. So meantime, he's just going through whatever it is. And we look at this project like we look at many projects. And it's sort of that whole, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? Just pick a spot and go, just start. I mean, that's really the best way to do it. What we did was we decided to pick this corner. This corner did have the storage bins in it. But obviously you could see it also had some of Jimmy's architectural drawings, blueprints and such, some artwork. It had some garage sale stuff blended in. So it's just a matter of sorting it, figuring out where it's going to go. Are we getting rid of it? Are we going to keep it? Is it something we're going to use in the upcoming bedroom projects or something? Then it's time to just deal with it and get rid of it, put it away, do whatever. So we do have some ideas. We did, I think I mentioned this in a previous video, that we took the time to measure all the furniture and measure the room, including where the windows lie and where the doors lie, or the door lies. And we mapped out the furniture placement. When you're especially of a certain age, that is definitely the way to go. You don't have to have graph paper. You could do this on lined loose leaf. When I was younger, I never had graph paper. We would just use lined loose leaf. We would basically count the lines and decide how big we could make the room, basically what scale we can make the room depending on how big the room was compared to how many lines were on the paper. And then you take a second sheet of paper and you turn the lines sideways, and that's how you can create a perfect grid by basically seeing, the paper going the other direction. That's just how I always did it when I was growing up. And until I met my husband, I didn't even, did they have graph paper? I thought they just had that at school. So you can do this without being professional, without being having all the quote unquote proper materials. And I feel it's important, especially if you have mobility issues or physical limitations. you know, a lot of young people just decide to move their furniture around and just keep moving their furniture around. Oh, let's put it on this wall. No, I don't really like it on this wall. Let's slide it over to that wall. But when you have physical limitations and you're of a certain age, or you're just have a weakened system or mobility issues, you don't want to have to constantly keep moving the furniture. So it's always best to take basically a bird's eye view of your furniture. I measure the depth of all the furniture and the width. The height is important if you're going to pay attention to, like, if you have windows and stuff. But that doesn't have to be what you don't need that dimension when you're cutting stuff out, because you just want to do the bird's eye view for a floor plan. Okay? And it's important to include your moldings, basically around your door and around your window, because if you don't include them and you want to put the dresser up against the window, it might not fit with the extra 2.5 inches of molding or such. Okay? Just tips. That's all I got. So what we did was, originally we weren't sure we were going to put the Filipino dresser. Mom had given us this really long chest of drawers that are actually Jimmy's, what Jimmy's using in the room with the mirror on it. And originally we were just like, let's just get rid of that, because we didn't know where we were going to put it, but it doesn't belong to us, and she would rather just like keep it, but don't know where she's going to keep it, excuse me. So what we decided to do was, we said, if we do just a little bit of different arranging, we can get it in here on the wall where the H cabinet is, if we just move the glass cabinets and make room for it there. Now, as far as the mirror is concerned, we were talking about, different places we could store it, behind the dresser or on a different wall. But we'll deal with that when we get to it. But for right now, he's just going through the stuff. He's going for, that's the garage sale stuff we have left behind. Some DIYs that I had made, some I made before I had a channel, some I've made since, but I didn't share on my channel. But I hate to give them away, because just because they're not something that I want doesn't mean somebody else won't want it for 50 cents or something. So we have a garage sale pile for sure. Now, he, whenever possible, will get down on the floor so he could work and save his back. He's not really keen on bending over at the waist. He'd much rather squat. His knees can take it better than his back, as opposed to like me. If you've heard me talk before, my back can take it way more than my knees can. So we work in a yin and yang like that. So he's on the floor now, and he's like sorting the yard sale stuff, trying to figure out to make it neat in the corner until we can get the furniture moved around and find a place to put all the yard sale stuff. Okay? Now, this tall dresser that's in front of him, we started to talk about before, that is his dresser from when he was a baby. It was custom made for his parents in the Philippines. He's talked about it on his channel, where those drawers have to go in that particular order, because when it's like handmade furniture, they only fit in certain places, as opposed to when it's machine factory made or that kind of thing. So what we did decide to do, since originally that was just going to replace the H cabinet, is we decided to go ahead and move this into the corner, where we have 2 low plastic shelves that basically just had partyware, like chargers and buffet servers and that kind of stuff. In the buffet that's behind there, and in the left side of the H cabinet, there are linens. We have the ones that are in the H cabinet were actually my mother-in-law's. Then again, she would just like to hang on to. The ones that are in the buffet are ours, and they're not just for this dining room table, but some are for like the coffee table and like basically the kitchen table too. So we just have a bunch. We're still going to purge. We're still going to go through them, purge, get rid of them. I think I want to fold them with my flip and fold, so that they all have a nice even dimension. And they'll stack and sort really well in there. If you were here for a very long time, this dresser was in my guest room with my fabric in it before I took over Jim's office for the craft room. And I had used the flip and fold to fold all that fabric, so it would fit really nicely in the drawer. So I thought it'd be nice to do that with all of the tablecloths and napkins that we keep. Okay. Now, we did at the church host a date night a couple of years in a row, and I used some of the fabrics that I have to create beautiful table runners. but we invested in a lot of white cotton napkins, basically like commercial grade white cotton napkins. So it's one of those things you'd be like, I know I have all my dishes because I would like to have my whole family over at some point. But that's why I'm keeping all of those white cotton napkins. Judge lest ye be judged. I love them. I do love a cloth napkin for a holiday and a special event. So for me, I'm happy to keep them. They're not taking up prime real estate. They don't make me stress out where I'm going to keep them. So none of those things, it doesn't trigger me. So none of those things are what I need to worry about. So we're just going to go ahead and move them when we get the chance. So all this stuff you'll see in upcoming videos. But that's what's going to go into this Filipino dresser once it's in the corner. All right. So the act of doing this rearranging, it is super important to clean as you go. There's certain things where like we don't know exactly if we're purging them yet, because perfect example is I have this ceramic 2-tiered dessert tray. It's basically a ceramic dish with a smaller ceramic dish on top, and I bought it because I don't have one, but do I have other things I can use instead? All of my ceramic serviceware is under the buffet, and we're not going to get to that project today. So we're basically just going to take this and put it off to the side to see if I still need it, if I have something I could replace it with, if it's replacing something else, and then I can finally get rid of that something else. So yeah, that's what we're at. So the thought process for this was that if Jimmy gives me the drawer, I can go ahead and organize the plates. However, we did realize after just a couple of stacks of plates, even though they're plastic chargers and they weigh practically nothing, they will make this drawer super heavy. These drawers are kind of heavy to begin with because this is mahogany, but it will be like even heavier. So it's like if I stack them up on the table, if I organize them on the table, then it's going to be really difficult to get them back down on the floor. Now, originally, if you remember me saying from the beginning, we thought we were just going to fill these drawers and stack them underneath Jimmy's desk. Well, what we realized was without moving all of the chairs and moving all the Harry Potter stuff, we won't be able to get the drawers in the dresser if we have it put away. So, I don't know, German, Nordic, Irish, Scottish innovation. Jim comes up with a solution per my suggestion, but we came up with a solution that you'll see here in a minute. And I recommend it for you if you are in the same boat as Jim, where it's your back that bothers you and not other parts of your body, okay? So we did purge quite a few chargers. I had a set of gold that I wasn't really interested in keeping. I had an old set of silver chargers that, my goodness, I think I got it when we got married. I think when we got married, I got them. I think I used them for service plates at my wedding, as a matter of fact, like to put desserts and stuff on. But it's time. It's time. I like the galvanized ones that I got at the Dollar General, and they can replace the silver ones as far as I'm concerned. The silver ones were a little ornate and a little thick plastic too, so that kind of like bulks up the space in the drawer. So if you're interested, I have 6 dark wooden ones, 4 light wooden ones, and I mean wooden. They're faux wood. They're from the Dollar General and the Dollar Tree. I have kept a set of 6 black and red Christmas ones. What I did was I kept 4 that have the 'tis the season just on the edge of the plate of the charger, and then I kept 2 that say Joy to the World in the middle, and I got rid of the rest. I had to buy that in a case to get them because they were never coming in stock at my store. Okay? So I've given some away, and then I have some that here I'm going to sell. I kept a set of white with a sort of a scalloped edge that I got at Hobby Lobby for 99 cents each. I think they were originally $1.99 and I got them for 50% off sale. So they ended up being $1, or they were $3 and I got them for $1.50. Either way, they were relatively close to the price that you pay at the Dollar Tree. And they're beautiful white. I don't know where the white marbly ones are from the Dollar Tree. I wonder if I gave them away last time. I might have put them in my craft room because those are really good to DIY with. Then I have a black and white set that I just got at the Dollar Tree fairly recently. Black and white buffalo check that came out, I think, at Christmas time. Yeah, maybe September. I got them when I was on my way home from the funeral. I think September. I kept 2 sets of, my bronze ones. I found these really unique bronze ones at the Dollar Tree that I love. They're sort of like a brown, maybe burnished gold, but kind of like towards the bronze side. It's really pretty. And the galvanized ones, of course. And then I have one that looks like the scalloped white ones in silver that I use for service. And then I have one wooden one that's basically carved. I got it from the Target dollar spot. And it's got a Christmas saying on it that I usually use more for decor. It goes on a plate holder, but I keep it with the chargers because that's technically what it is. So we ended up being able to fit all of the chargers that I kept in one drawer. That was really what I was getting to. So now we're going to take the next drawer and he's going to put like the plates in there. So I have these plastic plates from the Dollar Tree as well. I think that there's a set from the Dollar General I was gifted. Yeah, there was. There's a set from Walmart that I was gifted and a set from the Dollar General that I was gifted with red trucks on them. And they're 2 different sets. One is much more muted. One was much more casual, in my opinion, which is why I've opted to keep both sets. I have my set of beautiful autumn pumpkin ones that we got from the Dollar Tree a couple of years ago. And they have matching set of bowls and cake plates. So all of that ended up fitting really, really well in here. I also have the set of the plastic marble ones that I like for just like when it's I said to Jimmy, if we have like an anniversary party in the yard, those would be perfect. Okay. Someplace you want them nice, but maybe you'll have the kids over for something nice and you have to worry about one of the toddlers throwing the plate on the floor. Anyway, so we're just going to fit all of those into this other drawer, which kind of really worked out kind of perfect. So all of those chargers and plates, almost everything from the bottom of those 2 shelves there is going to fit in these 2 drawers that we kept. Because like I said, we put a lot in the garage sale pile, giveaway pile, or whatever we decide to do. Now you can see what he's doing. So, whenever possible, I know it sounds crazy, but whenever possible, I keep the tissue paper that comes between the charger plates. If you have charger plates that you use often and you don't keep the tissue paper, you know exactly what I'm talking about. They can get really scratched up, especially when they have like that nice plasticky mirrory finish. Now, if they get scratched up in the middle, I don't care because the plate usually goes on top of it, but it's when the edges get messed up that I really am like, totally disappointed. So, I'm here for moral support. But I will tell you, it's so hard sometimes to really I don't want to say relinquish control because I never really have control, but it's basically to have somebody do what you really want to do. It's really difficult. It's really, really difficult. But he did such a great job. He really did. I love him so much. He has been such a rock star through this whole thing. I know you guys are tired of hearing it, but really, he has. So the next drawer is going to be all of the, like we said, we said the dishes. Now, in Jim's mind, it's very hard sometimes for him to figure oh no, I'll never be able to move this dresser with stuff in the drawers. However, I reminded him of a couple of things that we've done before. He's done this before. It is so much easier to move it with the drawers out. However, it's not impossible to move it with the drawers in. Now, we do have these furniture movers, but where the dresser was going, it would be practically impossible to get the gliders out from underneath the furniture against the wall. I mean, he would really have to contort himself to do that. So he basically, while we were packing the plates up, we talked about what we were keeping and why we were keeping it, and what we were getting rid of and why we were getting rid of it. But we also talked about how can we move this furniture while it has the drawers in it. Now, you'll see him struggle in a minute when he goes to put the drawers away, that they were really heavy. They were heavy. You don't think, and that's why I said to him, I'm like, you don't think plastic would weigh that much? Because these I don't know, melamine type plastic, and they don't really weigh much individually. But I guess when you have so many, that's really what makes the difference. Okay? So he pulled out this plastic bag that had the one chafing dish that I wanted to keep. I basically used to have a sterling silver plated glass insert Pyrex chafing dish set. I just collected it over the years. I used to go to garage sales and be like, oh, I love these chafing dishes. If you don't know what I'm talking about, did you ever see an old movie that has like people over for dinner in a silver chafing dish? That's what I'm talking about. So I kept one out of the whole collection that I had. I gave some away. I sold some. I donated some. But I kept one, and he was like ready to give it away. And I was like, oh, come on. I just kept one, please. Because it was a practical size Pyrex bowl in there. And that's another thing. So even when I don't want to use it for a chafing dish, I can always just use that practical size, Pyrex bowl. So in the what are we going to do to move this, there is stuff on top. So what I have on top was basically the autumn tray that I set up in 2019 for autumn. I'm not kidding. It's when we did the last time we had a table centerpiece for autumn DIYs in this dining room. 2020 was a mess for everybody, including us. It really was. So basically I did put some stuff away, like the pumpkins and stuff that were on there, but we're just basically deconstructing. Now, the cotton swag that I made on my channel, which is in the middle of this plate of this tray, we did hang behind the couch here in the living, which you'll see when we do the living room DIYs, or not DIYs, redecorating video. Because I put the cotton swag on the fireplace, and it doesn't have to be just for autumn. It's very country cotton. It really, really is. So the candlesticks we put on the fireplace, they have Dollar Tree candles in them with gingham ribbon wrapped around it, and they're on the black plaster candlestick holders and stuff. So I basically asked him to I took out the things that weren't going to go out to the living room. I took the things out that were going to stay in the dining room, and I said, if you could just take this tray out and put it out, the whole thing out to the living room, we'll decorate with it tomorrow. Now, this bin that he just brought me is a Tupperware bin that has an insert for divided silverware, that I have the divided silverware in a IKEA metal thing in my kitchen. But so this is just an open container. It actually has 2 keyholes in the back that you can hang it up. But what I have in it is border paper that I'm in love with. I know, I should let it go. But we have aspirations of actually decorating with that. When we get to the point where we're ready to repaint and such, that's like a future project. I've been hanging on to this border paper that matches my curtains for 1,000 years. Okay, it hasn't been quite that long, but it's been pretty long. Okay. When we have like a metal serviceware type of situation, we were just putting it on the top shelf of this little L. This is just one of those plastic 2-tier situations that we had in an L shape, and then when we redecorated the room for Jimmy's office, we put it in a straight line, not knowing that we were going to do this, because that wasn't that long ago. We didn't do that all that long ago. Valentine's Day, I think. So we're just going through things, deciding what we're keeping, what we're getting rid of, taking the shelves apart, storing the shelves. I said to Jim, if we feel like you want to keep them for when we get a shed, we can, but we definitely can use them for the garage sale, because a garage sale, you don't have to have everything on a table. Everything could, things could be vertical on a shelf as well. So we also have one behind the door here in the dining room as well, kind of like behind where I'm sitting, that eventually we'll probably have to find a place for as well, because we're going to be rearranging and we won't need that anymore. So, okay. Old DIY projects come to haunt. This is basically that really cute scale that I copied off of While You Were Cleaning, at Beth While You Were Cleaning. I just love, as well as my Halloween surprise box DIY that I did with Sarah Jane over at Chic on the Cheap. My little skull-headed candelabra thingy. Also, what I made in my channel is this like chandelier situation for outdoors that He promised me someday we're going to hang. At this point, I have to glue the candle things back on there. But he promised me we're going to hang it. He promised, he swears. So, trying to decide where to put things while you're doing this major redecoration is becoming not an issue necessarily, but we don't want to clutter the spaces we decluttered. We don't mind putting things in there as long as it feels still clean and open. For perfect example is the black and white check chair that was in front of the H cabinet that Jimmy talked about in the beginning of the video. That is in the living room here now, and because I have black and white buffalo check pillows in the living room, it doesn't look bad. We basically angled it at the TV just for the meantime. You know, it can be stored in here, but it could also look like it belongs in here as well. So try to keep that in mind while you're redecorating or rearranging your furniture. Everything doesn't have to be just like stored. It doesn't have to be just moved out of the way until you don't have to fill your kitchen with stuff is what I'm trying to say. You can just do what you can, how you can, that kind of thing. So what we're doing with this is we're actually going to take some packing tape. The legs on this, if you've ever bought one of these at Walmart, the legs actually store between the shelves. And then they have these spacers that you could double up as feet. And then we put them between the bottom two shelves. And then we just take these and, take some packing tape, some low-tack packing tape or low-tack duct tape, and you could just wrap it around the whole thing. And then you could just store it in, a smaller space. And this way you'll have it if you ever need extra storage for something. Now, granted, they are only $10 or $15 depending on where you get them and how the sturdy and stability is, but it's still $10 or $15. That's what I'm saying. So behind them was a wooden card table that I have that I was gifted by my friend Trish. Hi, Trish. Back in the day when we used to work together. And behind it is, or in front of it, no, it was behind it, is my old black round tabletop. Now you'll see that in an upcoming video because I have been hanging on to this thing for so long. In 2006, when we got the apartment at the group home, or up until 2006 when we got the apartment in the group home, I have wanted a round pedestal table my entire life. I wanted a kitchen table. I wanted a dining room table. I really didn't care. It could be arts and crafts. It could be the tea chat. I didn't care. I just wanted a round pedestal table. And we found one. And we found one for a price we could afford. And it was so sturdy. And it was relatively inexpensive. We had ordered this one that was a major heavy-duty piece of furniture that cost about as much as the ones at Target that are basically have like weaker bottoms. So like I was like, look at it, it's so heavy, and he's got to roll it out. When we moved here, the movers lost the pedestal. But I love the table so much, I've been hanging onto the tabletop with tons of plans. I'm always on the marketplace looking for a pedestal. That's one. Craigslist, you name it. But what we decided to do was, oh no, I'm not going to tell you. You can see that in an upcoming video. But with that furniture moved from behind those shelves, we have much more room to fit this dresser, and we can still get in and out of the drawers without moving the chairs. We can't pull the drawers out on the bottom, but we can get in and out of them, definitely. But now, how are we going to move them, you ask? Okay. So I said to Jim, we could get the furniture movers if you want. You can walk it if you want. And at the same exact time, he said, I know what I'm going to do. And I was like, I know what you're going to do. So he tried to slide it, and then we both had this aha moment at the exact same time. Jim has a bad back, but he has super duper strong legs. If you watched us in the Valentine's Day video fix his table and move the table and stuff, you'll know he has super strong legs, because how he moved that piece of furniture is how he's going to move this piece of furniture. First, he's struggling to get these poor drawers in. They're very, very heavy. I feel so bad for him. And remember, they have to go in the right spots. He had a lot of trouble with the bottom one. It was extremely heavy and cumbersome, and he couldn't stand at the right position. And his feet were sliding all over the place, so he had to take off his socks. That's what he just specs on top of the dresser. So finally he got it in. And now try to push it one more time. And we're about to have our aha moment. I said, Jim. He said, yeah, I know exactly what I'm going to do. He initially was using brute force. He just did like a 360 because he wasn't sure how close he had to be to the buffet and the chair. It literally was almost up against the buffet and up against the chair. So he sat on the floor and he just pushed it with his legs. Go, go, Viking. He is my rock star. Fiddled, faddled, and pushed. As you can see, he was struggling with his hands and arms to push it, but then once he got down on the floor, it just flew. I mean, your legs are really strong, even when your legs are bad, because no matter how much you weigh, that's what your legs pick up, minus 50 or 100 pounds, depending on your size. So if you're, I'm 350 pounds, my legs pick up, 250 pounds every day because they probably weigh 100 pounds between the two of them. So anyway, I digress. So I'm all over the place today. So it's kind of in place. It just has to be like finagled just a tiny bit. Okay. Then we're going to go ahead and get it basically loaded back up on the top. Just so you know, he had a much longer break laying on the floor, but I don't think you guys needed to see the 15 minutes he was laying on the floor, right? So as we're preparing to decide, like, what are we putting back, what are we keeping, I did remind him that we just purged this stuff. Now, I did purge more chargers because I knew that I only wanted to keep one drawer of chargers, and there was just some that I didn't use as often. And there's ones like the gold one, for example. I don't mean to be wasteful, but they do sell them regularly at the Dollar Tree. So if I do need more gold chargers for some particular project, then I know that they're there. Okay? Yeah, it's when it's something that doesn't really sell out at the Dollar Tree, if I honestly can't use anything else that I have, then I know that they're there and I can just get them again. So the things that we decided to keep buffet wise, like I mentioned, I did say to Jim that we did recently just purge the stuff. I mentioned some of the things that we got rid of already. He doesn't really remember. He just wants the space to be tidy, and I do appreciate that. But I think I've mentioned it to you guys before. When we get our shed eventually, the storage, the holiday decor that's in the utility room will be coming out. Part of the utility room will be for tools, and the other part will be for party storage. Jim and I have lots of aspirations of hosting lots of people for lots of different events. And these are just things that I have used in the past and I will use again, but I don't use them every day. It's like how, if you can keep it and it's something you will use again because you have used it before successfully, then keep it. But if you buy something thinking it'll work and you go to use it and it won't work, then obviously maybe it's time to get rid of it. Okay? I have a lot of the plate holders, 2-tier, 3-tier plate holders. One of the white thing that went away first is actually a buffet server. It holds 2 sets of plates, and it has 2 arms that swing out that have cups for silverware and napkins, whatever you want to put in them. And then I have a big 2-tier plate stand, one that holds a big plate on the bottom, a smaller one on top. And then I also have just a regular 3-tiered silver one that I actually spray painted silver myself. It was gold when I got it, ick. I want to paint it black eventually, I think, but I don't. I think I'm just leaving it silver for now. And then just these beautiful cotton floral arrangements. I feel they're beautiful. I made them. They go up every autumn. No point in disassembling them just so they can be reassembled in the autumn time. And then this candy dish that I've had forever. It was my second pewter purchase. My dad took me to a fish and game show, like how you would go to a boat show. And he got me this cute little pewter duck pin that I lost in the flood. And I actually had it until the flood. And we're talking I was probably 9 or 10 or 8 or 9 at the time. And I just loved it. And I loved pewter from then on. I was just obsessed. So this like little aluminum and slash pewter dishes there, I've had it forever. I found it at a garage sale when I was about 15 years old. And I've just been traveling with it. I use it for candy sometimes. I use it for tchotchkes sometimes. It depends on where I'm living and what I need it for. So Jim is cleaning as he goes. Don't forget, that's important. Now we also have a laptop and a computer that came with us from New York, but there's no like e-cycling places here. They had an event once last year, but we weren't able to make it, and who knows when they'll have it again. But you can't just throw that stuff in the garbage. Some people do, but you really can't. So we have them until the next event. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to spin you around and show you the progress. We do have some more to do, and I'll walk you around with that too. But I'm very happy. I am so proud of my husband. Every time he does an achievement, I gush. So thanks, Jim. We found this like lantern that I had made on my channel but never shared it. It sounds silly, but I think I'm gonna fix it or throw it out. I'm not really sure. I think we should just throw it out, honey.
Yeah.
Okay, here. I'm just gonna throw it out. I think I'd like to make you guys another one. But basically, it was a collapsible lantern with picture frames that hangs, and it had a false bottom. And you put it in there, and it kept it stable. Let's do it this way. But I never shared it because the only rope that they had at the time, because this was like 2017 when I just started my channel, the only rope they had at the time was this poly, and I didn't like it. So I thought I would redo it with the nautical rope. It would be cute. But here, why don't you just go ahead and
Just leave there. I'll take it out in a second.
or garage sale it. I don't know. Maybe we can garage sale it.
Nah.
No. Okay. He's like, for parts. So the dresser is moved. The bottom 2 drawers are filled. The top 3 drawers are going to get linens and napkins because those drawers are kind of shallow, and in the deeper drawers of the buffet and the other dresser that's coming in here, we'll be able to put the glassware. So Jim said maybe tomorrow. He might rest tomorrow. I told him whatever he needs, I'm here for him because he's there for me every day. So thank you. If you guys have any questions, you know what to do, and the sharing and the liking and the thumbs up and the subscribing and the notifications and all the things. And as always, you guys take care. God bless. We'll see you next time.
My camera is flying all over the place.
Can you see yourself?
Yeah. Bye. It's tilted.
Bye.